GM and welcome back to the channel. Now in today's video we're talking about new token launches on Solana with Armada Fi. So as the Twitter states down here, Armada is a public good to power the next gen of token ecosystems on Sol. So this is going to be the software that allows for not only the initial fair launch of a token, but also the ongoing token management. And this being provided as a public good in the hopes of creating token economies on Solana with value accrual at the very heart of them. So who's behind this? Well, this is a collaboration between Tommy and Taylor over at Sci Finance and also Gunny of Hero Network. So if you're looking to ship a token on Solana or even get in on the next wave of tokens coming to the Solana ecosystem, look no further than Armada. Now make sure you do subscribe to the channel and let's jump into today's video. So here we're over to the main interface of Armada Finance, app.armadafi.so. Now what you can see here from the top, we've got the CLMM, Concentrated Liquidity Market Making, plus the discount tokens as well. More on that in just a sec. And we're going to go through the structure of the LBP, Liquidity Bootstrapping Pool, and also the LBC, the Liquidity Bootstrapping Curve, the two fair launch mechanisms. The tools here can be used to start a new chapter for Solana DeFi, Solana Defi 2.0 if you will. DeFi 1.0 obviously marred by SBF with his huge fully diluted valuations, senseless tokenomics, down-only price action, and the same VC cabal on every single raise. So therefore teams utilizing Armada are going to allow for us as investors to get in at the very ground level, have tokens launch in a fair manner with transparency over process, allowing the teams themselves to concentrate on building out product, building out brand and marketing the product to the masses. So both token sale and management can be handled within this. So let's take a little look through and see the various products on here. We'll have a look at the discounted token redemption near the end, but CLMM is a good place to start. This is the Concentrated Liquidity Market Maker. So this is actually a real backbone piece before we jump into the token launches. And as you can see from the very top here, this builds off the foundations of the open source configurations over at Orca. These types of vaults allow for different strategies to be implemented and for institutional grade market makers to actually direct the liquidity of LPs. Now, as we know, Orca has been around for a long time. It has been very much battle tested with $1 billion in TVL attached to it. So the fact this builds on top of that makes a lot of sense. Now, each of these CLMMs are their own pools with vaults built on top of them. So each vault is made up of a different strategy as determined by the vault mandate. Each pool can have an unlimited number of vaults on it, but each vault can have within it 5 different strategies. So a strategy typically will be within a certain price range, and this really does factor into the LBP. Now we can see from the diagram down here, you have the liquidity providers, then we have the various strategies on here, all contributing to the same pool. So different strategies, different strokes for different folks, all doing different things. Maybe some will be to minimize impermanent loss, really follow the active tick. Others could be used to DCA in or DCA out of positions. So if we just go to the DApp here and we open up one of the vaults, you can see directly from here how you would add liquidity to these various positions, entering in the amounts of the two sides of the equation. In this one, we have USDC and Hero. You can almost in a way zap in funds. You can see there's use USDC only. So if you wanted to have 10 grand's worth of liquidity, but you didn't have any Hero tokens, you could put in 10k USDC. It would then in the background sell off half the position and buy 5k's worth of Hero, obviously slippage dependent. And from here, you can see the various metrics, the ROI on this actual pool coming in around 12.5%, the TVL in here as well, and the ratio of the two various collaterals and the vault position. And this image at the bottom is showing you how the market maker is deploying capital into this vault. So not only can the CLMM be used post launch either via the LBP or the LBC, but it can also be used straight out the box for other teams independent of that. So any Solana based project that wants V3 style liquidity management can come and actually use this. So moving on to the fair launches here. And if you're familiar with Balancer and its LBPs, you'll be able to easily familiarize yourself with this. So essentially an LBP liquidity bootstrapping pool allows for the fair distribution of tokens via investors coming to the dApp and being able to bid on a liquidity pool of the underlying asset. Now, each of the LBPs that take place on Armada will be slightly different because there is a lot of flexible configuration that can take place. Therefore, a team would have to decide, do they want to have the pool all at one fixed value, or are they going to have a sequence of different vaults all at different values, maybe in a first come and first served gets the best price kind of setup. So think of it as having different tranches of liquidity, and once one pool gets sold out, if there are multiple pools, you would move on to the next one, maybe at an incrementally higher price. And as it states down the bottom, as proceeds are collected, they can be swept into a reserve that is then sent in some fixed percentage to the project treasury, ongoing protocol-owned liquidity, and other critical functions. So with this and this setup, we could have more transparency over process, and investors could see exactly how the funds are going to be split once the LBP takes place. So on screen, we have an example of the LBP. You would obviously connect your wallet and have USDC in most cases ready to actually deploy and buy into the liquidity pool. There will also be optionality, I believe, for token teams to actually receive Solana, the native token of the network, rather than USDC, but I imagine USDC will be the most popular choice. What we can see is the current tranche progress to the left. So this would be the first tranche of tokens in here. The y-axis determining the token price, and the x-axis the number of tokens for sale in each tranche. You can see the current price listed up here, and the FDV, quite an interesting metric to show up at current price. And the auction liquidity will progress as the white line moves forward. Once all tokens sold out at the first price, so on screen it's $1.04, it would move up to the next price. And as you can see, the token team can then configure things. So as an example, you can see the final and the fourth tranche up here has a much higher price and incrementally goes up quite a bit comparative to the three previous tranches. So with this kind of setup, it would be the first come do get the best price. So it would make sense in this case here to actually be early to the sale. And with an LBP, there's not necessarily an end date. The total number of tokens for sale could sell out, but they also may not. And that would be something for the token team to think about. After the token sale has taken place, we would move on to adding on-chain liquidity. And that's where the option for the CLMM to be used straight out the box exists. That means you can have continued price discovery for your token straight away. And it allows for the investors into the token to actually realize profit if there is any, and have freedom to maybe buy more or even sell their tokens as they wish. Then the second type of fair launch allowed via Armada is the LBC, the liquidity bootstrapping curve. Now this is fundamentally different due to the fact this is a Dutch style auction. So this means that each block price is actually descending. So price is coming down based on a decay curve, the curve of which can obviously be customized by the token team. And typically what you have is a very high price set from the beginning, and then it decays down over time towards a proposed end date. So there would be a start date and end date for this, and a proposed start price and end price. But depending on market participants, if they're buying or not, that will of course affect the price curve for the assets. So on screen, an example of a steep early decay curve that obviously disincentivizes early participants who want to ape in, or people who maybe wanted to snipe the whole launch of a token. They would pay a very exorbitant price there. And it also brings about a lot of game theory as well, because you would need to think about when do you want to buy, what do you perceive as value for said token. Let's have a look at an example. So on screen, an LBC here, again, you would connect your wallet and have USDC available to bid on here in this Dutch style auction. You can see on the left hand side the current price denoted by the green line, the total volume in here, and the sale period. So there would be a start and end date, the number of tokens sold in this example, and the FDV market cap at the current price. So what you can see from this is that price descends downwards over time, and it's only when there is bid that comes into the market, so people start to buy the token, does it tick up in value. So say you have a highly anticipated token launch for an LBC, maybe the curve will start to descend, but as people start to bid, the price will actually go up. So you would really need to think about when you want to bid, when do you perceive there to be value, because if you do get front run by others, the price will pull away from you and start going up only if a lot of people really do ape into it. And final thing to note on the LBC, you get the price at which you bid. So if you do bid early, you're going to pay a higher price potentially than those later on. And then again, once the token sale has ended, the token team can then move funds into the CLMM for price discovery and the ability for traders to trade in and out of said token. So rather interestingly, we will see the first outings of both an LBP and LBC here in the coming days, as we have Flowmatic on October 24th with the first LBP liquidity bootstrapping pool, as we saw using those CLMM vaults and tranches of tokens at different prices for the token sale. And then we have Cypher Protocol here utilizing the LBC approach, as you can see from the decay curve depicted on screen by them, allowing for the market to find the right value for the token before allowing it to trade openly. So both of these are fair launch mechanics with different pros and cons and different game theoretic incentives at stake. Now, just to touch on the V2 or Fleet 2, as they're calling it, some of the token management that will be rolled out after we see the V1 start to actually get utilized. As you would have seen on the DApp, you have the discount token redemption. So this is part of a discounted token standard that they're looking to implement for token teams who wish to use this. Now, this is a very much smart way of distributing token incentives to the ecosystem participants. So say, for example, you have LP rewards and you're emitting your token to those who are LPing, or maybe you have volume incentives for traders on your DEX as an example. Well, rather than just dishing them out free tokens, which highly likely you're going to get some farming and dumping of those tokens, the discounted token standard allows for an option to buy the token at a discount to market price. Therefore, this would allow for an arbitrage to take place for the person receiving the incentive. So say, for example, it's a 50% discount to the Oracle price. You have the option to buy, say, $100 worth of tokens at $50. So you would therefore send the protocol $50 in USDC and receive back $100 worth of tokens. You could then sell the tokens on the marketplace to lock in that $50 arbitrage, a nice incentive to you. But on the flip side, the protocol now has a revenue stream. This cash flow could be used for the ongoing management of said protocol, or you could also distribute some of those funds back to the stakers, so they have a consistent flow of funds going to them and a good reason to actually stake the token. So as you can see, you can add value accrual into the token economics by using the DTS, discount token standard. Armada will also be rolling out the DeMUX solution as well, allowing for an easy way to distribute token revenues. So rev share could be automated, no need for creative accountancy or any shady things to go on, full transparency of process by utilizing this. This means rewards and revenues could be distributed as per governance votes and actually implemented on chain. And I think this would give investors a lot of confidence in actually investing into tokens if they knew they were utilizing these kind of tools. Then further, we have the SPL governance plugin as well. As it states, this will allow for the vesting and staking of tokens, and you wouldn't have to choose between staking or actually participating in governance. You could do both using this plugin, and this could help set up token teams, DAOs, for success into the future. So as you can see here, a full suite of tools coming to the Solana ecosystem via Armada Fi for fair launch, liquidity management, token management, and overall just a much better process for token teams to actually get started within the Solana DeFi 2.0 movement. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you give Armada Fi a follow, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and I'll see you guys at the next fair launch. Peace.